Lisa LaBelle, everyone.
Welcome to the L4 podcast, everyone. I have a really awesome guest with me here, Paul Mikesell. He is the CEO of Carbon Robotics, and Carbon Robotics makes the LaserWeeder, and it's a tech agriculture. The LaserWeeder, essentially, it eradicates weeds via laser. So go ahead, Paul. You want to talk a little more about that and maybe about your background, how you got into this?
Yeah, no problem. Hi, Lisa. I am familiar with you. I love the show, and we're all big fans of you because you are trying to make technology maybe more accessible to a lot of people and put some fun on it, and I think we all appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you for what you do. Yeah, so I'm Paul Mikesell. I'm the founder and CEO of the company, Carbon Robotics. We make an AI tool that kills weeds with lasers. And I built the first version of this machine actually in my backyard in 2018. And I had been doing AI systems at several different companies before that. I really kind of got into it when I was at Uber back in the early days when we were just kind of starting our self-driving car efforts. And so I got pretty heavily into it at that time. And, back then we were doing all kinds of convolutional neural nets for object detection and image segmentation. And it was kind of the early days of the technology. So things have really come a long way. And my thesis on this whole thing was it was time to try to take all of that maybe Silicon Valley born technology and apply it to something in the real world. Because at that time, we were doing this kind of AI image detection and analysis for tasks like figuring out who was in your photos on Facebook or Instagram or what have you. And I wanted to do something real, right? Something physical. So then I started talking to farmers and I was like, well, holy moly, there's all this stuff that they could use help with. And the weed control issue really hit me because I know and I'm aware of how much herbicides we spray on our food and kind of how much damage that causes to the health of the people eating the food. I've had some health issues in my past that they think is some of the stuff that's immune system response to some of the chemicals in our food. And I know how much damage it causes to the farmers after a lifetime of exposure, but we need our farmers to be able to be profitable and continue to grow food. So they're kind of in this spot where they need tools. So I think we can apply technology to help do some good in the real world. And that was the whole idea. And then moving from my little tech background world to being exposed to the world of farming, I've just learned a lot. I've learned so much about different cultures and the way different people are, a lot about America and the way that farming happens and how we get our food and our food production cycles. So I think I've probably learned as much from the farmers as they've learned from me along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That had to have been, to dive into all of that.
Yeah.
Had to have been a lot. And
right.
I like how you were very humble. You said my little tech background. I did a little reading, and is it correct? You're the co-founder of Isilon?
I am. Yeah, me and my friend Sujal started that company. Yeah.
That's huge for my audience.
It was pretty good.
That's a big deal.
We sold that company for a couple of $1 billion, so that was not the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. That's EMC bought the company for $2.25 billion.
Wow.
Incredible.
You're on top of your game. You know everything. That's great.
That is just blows my mind. I'm like, who is this guy? And I'm starting to read. I'm like, oh, so that's how you're going to tell that. Yeah. And you just, I love that you have a curious mind and that you've done different things. You did that Isilon and then Uber, and Cameron said you also worked for Oculus.
I was at Oculus for a while. Yeah.
That's awesome. My curious mind just really appreciates that someone that you can take all of these different skill sets and execute them in all these different areas.
Yeah.
The LaserWeeder, it's been in the podcast world. It's been showing up.
You know what it was is we got on, this is cool. So RFK Jr., Secretary Kennedy, Secretary of the DHHS, went on Theo Vaughn and started talking about LaserWeeder and showing videos of LaserWeeder. And that happened in the middle of World Ag Expo, which is a big farm show. So we were so we're in the middle of our booth, we were freaking out. We're like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Because you never know how much people in the government know or care about what you're doing. And then I'll tell you the amazing thing that happened 2 days. So it was Tuesday a week ago. I got a call from the secretary. I got a call from Secretary Kennedy, and he wanted to talk about LaserWeeder. And what was so cool about that interaction was he spent like 5 minutes talking to me, and then he immediately followed up with, I want to talk to some farmers. And I was like, that's cool. I really respect that. So I gave him 3 farmers to contact. He called them immediately. He like spent a part of his day calling these farmers, learning about what they were experiencing, learning about LaserWeeder. That was awesome. And then the thing that happened after that was 2 days after that call, he was on Rogan. He went on Joe Rogan. He talked about LaserWeeder. They showed video of LaserWeeder, and it was great. And he said all the right stuff. Like, he didn't get any of the facts wrong. He didn't get any of the science wrong. He said all the right things. He had clearly spoken to these farmers and had listened and understood what they were dealing with and understood their point of view. And so this is not somebody who's just doing it for clout or whatever. He really cares about these issues. So I was really excited by that. And then, after Rogan, the most amazing thing happened is that now I'm on your podcast. So we really hit the pinnacle now, right? That's what it's all about. climbing the hill.
Climbing the ladder. Oh, thank you. Next up, Rogan's podcast. So this is just a little pre-pod. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool though if Rogan had you on too to talk about it, because
I love it. Yeah.
I this is a continual conversation. I really want to circulate this, and So what you were saying about Robert Kennedy on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was, so Joe Rogan, he said, oh, is it safe? He's kind of like the commoner's voice, right? Is it safe for the soil?
Right.
And you're saying, RFK was answering. He
was right on top of it. It was amazing.
Right on top of it. He's like, it's safe for the soil, giving all the stats. And I thought that was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Well, where did he learn this thing about the way that the laser kills the weeds? Is because the laser goes in and it destroys it bursts the cells of the meristem. Where did he learn that from? Because that was some original research that we did. We did that. I have like the early microscope slide pictures that we took in like early 2019 showing what was happening. So clearly he must have listened to something or read something I wrote at some point. And so that's amazing, right? That means he actually really wants to understand all the steps. Is it working? Is it real? Is it cost effective? Right. So for him to go all the way back to somehow find somewhere where I'm talking about the way that it's destroying the meristem and why that works, that's pretty cool. Like he must have learned this from something that I wrote or said somewhere. So that's awesome, right?
I think that is incredible. He's taking all the steps he wants to make this happen. And in order to make this happen and make this huge change, you have to know a lot about it, a lot about all the different areas. And that's what he did. And so that is a positive thing. It makes me excited for the future. And we're in 2026. This should be happening. It should be happening. Sure. It's happening with you, with your company. And the thing that gets me so excited about the LaserWeeder is the large plant model you have been built. I can talk about AI brain, only even knowing like how even half of it works, but I'll talk about it because it's so exciting. So the large plant model, that's proprietary to carbon?
Yeah, we made this thing called the LPM, the large plant model. At some point, we realized we had enough data. So we have 150 million plant labels in our database. And so that means that we know all of the stuff about all these different types of plants, what they look like, and all these different kinds of soils, the way that they're related to each other. And so what we trained up our AI to not work like maybe a traditional AI would work, in that our machine now knows everything about the structure of that plant and the way that it's related to all the other plants in its database. And so what that means now is we can make, with 1 or 2 pictures, we can decide that we know everything we need to know about that plant, what it's going to look like in different times of day, in different soils, different conditions, different growth stages, where we've never seen it before. But because we understand where it fits in this whole hierarchy of everything we've seen about all the other plants, We can make these kinds of inferences. So that was pretty mind-blowing. It was a brand new technology that we had developed, the large plant model, and it works very well with this specific kind of environment. Could probably use a technique like that for some other things. It works really well for sort of biological systems where things are evolving from other things and descending from other things, related to each other in certain ways. And so that system is working incredibly well. And what it means practically for the farmers now is if a new weed shows up or they want to plant a different crop, there's no take a picture and we'll retrain you a model, which is kind of how the traditional AI-based computer vision stuff had worked. Now you can just take a picture and immediately, with no retraining, the large plant model will adjust and operate differently based on a single picture. So that's been pretty transformative, and I think our customers are getting a lot out of it.
And for my audience, I've talked about zero-shot learning before, and that's zero. The audience, that is zero-shot learning right there. When when basically when it hasn't seen something, but it can figure it out from its database.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. That's what it's doing. It's looking at all these attributes of this plant and comparing it to all the other plants that it knows about. And so that's a lot closer maybe to how humans learn things. It's much more in the direction of a dynamic live system that's not just making predictions, but it's actually reacting to everything that's going on. That is insane. Our team. I mean, we have a really great AI team here who really cares about the task and the mission. So, I mean, credit to them for coming up with this, really, because you have to really care about our customers and what we're trying to do to come up with something like this. We could have just kept doing the kind of more traditional, neural net AI deep learning training thing, but our team came up with this as a way to really change the game for our customers.
It's the best. That's why Carbon Robotics stands out. It's the best. It's almost like a recursive learning. It's a closed loop system basically.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean that just am I right that you guys are part of the NVIDIA Ventures program? Yeah.
So NVIDIA is maybe I think the most valuable company in the world, but they make all the GPUs for all of these neural nets, and everybody I think knows the name Jensen at this point.
Jensen Huang, you wear those black leather jackets.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I have my black leather jacket right here. Maybe in respect, So
yes, you graduate. You are the tech guy. You wear the black leather jacket.
But so I have a lot of respect for the NVIDIA. So N Ventures is NVIDIA's venture arm, and this is kind of amazing. Those guys took a whole day out of their schedule to come down and visit some farmers with me, and they visited a couple different growers. The main guy there is a guy called Sid Sadiq, he's a cool guy, and we had him driving the tractor and driving some LaserWeeder and all that stuff. So that's cool. Not a lot of VCs would do that, and these guys have all the clout in the world. They didn't, necessarily have to do that, but I asked them to come look at some of these machines with me and talk to some farmers, and they unhooked, a whole day to come do this. So maybe that kind of culture, comes from Jensen. Maybe that's just the kind of company they are, but I really appreciated that. And NVIDIA's been a great partner. So the NVIDIA story is really pretty cool, the way that they came to have anything to do with AI, artificial intelligence, because they were originally a video game GPU. The G is graphics. They were originally making chips for video games. And there was a time back in the late 90s, maybe the early 2000s, where it was 3DFX was kind of dominant for GPUs, and then NVIDIA came out, and the thing that they got the original Xbox contract, and that was what kind of launched them. And so they had been building these GPUs, and what happened along the way was that they had been building a parallelization vector engine, right? So a vector machine that almost, I don't know if you'd say accidentally, turned into a great vector machine. The way Jensen tells it now is that when they were building CUDA, this was very purposeful. So maybe it was. But what happened then is that when the idea about neural nets and the fact that we could use stochastic gradient descent to actually make neural nets work well, all of a sudden it was like, oh, we need a vector machine, and then they were off to the races. So good for them to have that kind of foresight. And now everything runs on NVIDIA GPUs, and they invested in us along the way.
That I think that is fantastic. I mean, the LaserWeeder is one of the most demanding mobile AI machines on this planet.
Yes,
ma'am.
Yeah,
and it's mobile.
Yeah.
So, and bringing it back to that large plant model, how do you get a machine like that if it's in some field that doesn't get signal? Starling, right?
There you go. Yes, Starling.
Stick a Starling on there.
So that has been my theory here is that one of the major transformative technologies in agriculture, when we look back on this time, it's going to turn out to be Starlink, because the problem is always how do you get digital data up and down into the machine in the field? That's always the challenge. And before Starlink, we were having to do like cell networks and stuff, and it was very spotty and iffy. And so now, when all of a sudden I can have my LaserWeeder in the middle and, kind of pretty far out there, right? Perhaps in the middle of nowhere, being able to get new software and send images up to the data center to train new stuff, all of a sudden it's kind of a game changer. So that was amazing. I think things are this is one of those eras where all these inventions are coming together at the same time, and everybody's kind of relying on each other. So I'm pretty excited. It's a great time to be alive.
It is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I mean, you saying you built the LaserWeeder in your backyard in 2018. I mean, that's not that long ago. And that from then to now, it's like the Jetsons.
Yeah, we've been working. That's true.
Yeah.
And then have you seen our ATK, our autonomous tractor kits? Have you seen those?
I haven't.
Okay. We took our AI, the same AI now that's doing LaserWeeder, and we plugged it into a tractor. We call it a kit, but it plugs into the top of the tractor, and it makes it totally autonomous, fully autonomous tractor. So, so the ATK is moving pretty well. We have got a lot of customers using ATK now. And so ATK makes your tractor autonomous, so you don't need a driver, and then LaserWeeder on the back of that makes a great combination. We're doing things other than just laserweeding with ATK right now, but we do a fair bit of laserweeding as well. And when that happens, we have some pretty cool videos on our YouTube of laserweeders running all night with our autonomous tractor systems. And so the farmer in that case, wakes up in the morning and goes and sees what happened in the night, and he sees, all the fields were done. All good, right? Great. So it's another area where the AI is enabling farmers to have more control and have more predictability over what's happening in their field, because they don't have to worry about where am I going to get a driver, who's going to drive my midnight to 8 a.m. shift, this kind of stuff. And so when they can have an NVIDIA GPU running a neural net that's driving the tractor around, it's great, right? It's all good.
Yeah, that's incredible. And the autonomous tractor kit, I think it comes with remote operations control, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so people out there might be like, well, I don't know anything. Yeah, I'm just a farmer. Or I don't know anything about this technology. I can't fix it if it goes down. But you get, because of Starlink, you have that remote diagnostics.
That's right. We have remote diagnostics. And also the key thing there is that if the tractor, what always happens in all of these autonomy systems, if you get these exception cases. So like, it's different in farming than it would be in a self-driving car. In farming, you'll get like a deer in the field or a coyote or whatnot, or a fence fall over, or irrigation pump breaks and floods part of the field. These things happen. So what happens in those cases? Well, in most of the time, the thing would have to stop, and then there had to be some diagnosis about what happened. But with a remote operations center, what happens is we can have a person, one of our employees, who can actually take over that tractor and manually do whatever needs to be done to get around the intervention case. And so that's how we can guarantee these farmers that the tractor won't stop because it's got confused about something. So that's a key part of the way the whole system works.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You're thinking about it as the whole experience.
That's right.
And also, okay. walk me through, you have the LaserWeeder. How is it just pinpointing the weed and it's not just smoking everything around it?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, so that starts with really good cameras and lighting. You have to get pictures that are clear. And then it goes into the LPM. It goes into the large plant model. Large plant model tells us where the meristem of all the plants are and the type and size of each of those plants. And so then what we do is a
meristem, just so the audience knows, is that the root basically?
No, it is the meristematic undifferentiated growth cells of the plant. So just how you have stem cells, right? You have the stem cells that turn into everything eventually. Well, a plant has a meristem where the meristematic cells live, and if you kill all of those, the plant will die because it can't grow anymore. It can't photosynthesize once you destroy all that stuff. And so that's what we're targeting. And there are specific locations on different plants that we're aiming for. So that's why we need to know the type of the plant. And then the size of it, because we are looking down from the top, we need to know the type of the plant because the area that we see top down tells me the volume based on the type of plant that it is. So that's how we know how much laser to put into that thing. And then that's how we kill it. So the LPM is saying, here's the meristem of all these plants, and then we have a targeting system. This is kind of interesting. You're getting into some deep technical stuff now. This is really great. Okay, so we have a second neural net. We have a second neural net running that's independent of the LPM. That's a targeting neural net. And what it's doing is figure out how to put the lasers on those targets, because at the time the picture was taken, everything has shifted since then. We've kept driving, right? Things have moved. Things are bouncing around, and these are not, there's ruts in the furrows and there's rocks and all this stuff, and everything's shaking. So the targeting portion of the neural net figures out how to put the laser right on that meristem, and then we burn it out and destroy it, and then we keep moving, and then we move on from there. So that's how the whole system works. One of the key things we had, so I mentioned the lighting in the beginning. So the lights that we've developed, those are our lights because we couldn't find a lighting system that would do the appropriate level of luminosity and consistency throughout the field of view that we needed.
Oh, interesting. You created that.
Yeah, we had to make lights for them. There are computer vision lights. They're labeled computer vision lights, but they don't have anywhere near the power output and the consistency of brightness across the field of view. So we just built our own. So those lights are running at a voltage level that's too high for the LEDs, but we only run them at a 10% duty cycle. So like 1 millisecond out of every 10, they flash because that's when the camera triggers are open. So we do that, and it's 5 times brighter than the sun, so that we don't get any shadows. That's the whole point, is that there's no shadows, so the whole image looks consistent level. If you've seen any digital photography, most of the time you'll have some dark areas or some bright areas. It's very easy to have images either get washed out or be shadowed out because the camera gain is adjusting, and you'll get stuff where you just simply can't make out features in an image if it's got inconsistent lighting, because you'll either have the gain too high or too low, and you'll wind up in a spot where portions of your image are just indecipherable. So we built this system, and so that makes it an even lighting field all the way across the image space, and that's part of the reason why the system works so well. And if other machines out there in the field, there's like spot sprayers and things like that, and they all have these skirts around them. Well, why do they have the skirts? It's because they're trying to prevent light from getting in. But it doesn't really work that well because the sun, in the morning it's on the horizon, and in the evening it's on the other horizon, and it gets in. So we just want to take that problem away, and the best way to do that is just control your lighting.
So make it yourself. I mean, you're just making it. It seems like some of the most motivated tech entrepreneurs out there, they find that the thing that they're trying to do, like Elon Musk or Brett Adcock at Figure, it's like well, there's a battery you could put into the robot, but it's not the best. I'm just going to make it myself. So
Right.
you're just making all the components of the machine yourself, so it works the best way that you think it should work.
It is kind of like that, huh? It's like what Elon did with the rockets, right? He decided he tried to buy a good rocket engine, and he realized so he went and built his own. So we're maybe doing something similar, kind of on a smaller scale, of course, different.
Yeah, Paul got patents, I would imagine.
I got patents, yeah.
You got patents.
Sure. It's cool though. This is like in this day and age, you can just go build stuff. I mean, you can learn to make your own. You can do your own circuit design. You can learn how to build your own PCB in like 2 weeks with tools that are available right now. With the internet and YouTube, the ways that you can learn things is so different than how we had to do it when I was a kid, where you had to go get a book and read. I can just like Google stuff now and start learning. So there's no reason you can't just go to your shop and start building whatever you want. Really, you can do it right now. You can just build things. So the LaserWeeder, you break the problem down. Okay, LaserWeeder, I need cameras, which means I need lighting. I need to build a neural net, right? And then you kind of put stuff together, and after a while, you get a working system.
Yeah, 100%. That's such a good point. You can go to your workshop and just start tooling around. Oh, I need something, just order it from Amazon. Look at last Jet Croc. Yeah. What do I need?
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't available until just a few years ago. I mean, it's completely different world. And I know Peter Thiel, he has a program. I like to tell young people, he has a program. It's called Peter Thiel Fellowship, a program that awards $100,000 to students under 22 that drop out of college and start companies.
Yeah.
I mean, just start building. America, come on.
Yeah.
But so, okay, what were you doing as a kid, a teenager? Were you tinkering around?
Always. Yeah, I started programming computers when I was like 10 years old. The Commodore 64 for a certain generation maybe is meaningful, and I'm of that generation. So you could buy a computer that would show up at your house, and it was all in one. It had a keyboard, and then you would plug your TV, your home TV, like the one TV you had in your house.
Yep.
Which was a cathode ray tube that was blasting photons at you. And you plug in, and then you sitting there at this keyboard, and you boot the thing up, and what it says is ready. So now you're like, oh, ready for what? Turns out the answer is ready to start programming, ready for a life of building cool stuff. If you dig into it and you really start learning the ways in which things work, you have to go very far before you actually reach the bottom. So you're at the ready prompt and you're learning how to program. And what you learned in that day was basic. But if you really kept learning, you'd figure out, oh, actually, basic is just a language that's talking to the memory. And at a lower level, you can talk directly to the memory. And then you can start learning, how does the memory work? What does EE mean? How does all this, how do the PCBs get built, right? All of that stuff, you can go figure this out. And so that kind of interest, I think, was maybe harder to do when I was a kid, because like I'm saying, you had to go find other people who were interested in this and find the right books, and it was much more difficult to do. Nowadays, I'm sure that, there's online communities for all this stuff, but programming was just like right away for me. It was the most interesting thing, because it seemed like there was no limits on what you could do. You could immediately imagine all the stuff you could do with this machine. And so in the years since then, in the decades since then, we've got the internet and web browsers and all of this stuff. But it's all sort of built on those same fundamental principles about how a computer works, and writing software and being interested in building things, not just for yourself, but for other people to use.
That's incredible.
I love programming computers, and then I learned about playing guitar, and I got into heavy metal and played in a bunch of bands and stuff. And,
fantastic!
Yeah.
Oh, I love that you have a hobby or an interest outside of what your work. Yeah.
I think they're related. I was really into math. I think music is related to math. Programming is related to math. I think for me, I like to have some creative hobbies outside of just programming all the time. But I think maybe those two sides play off each other in a positive way.
I think so too. What's interesting is a lot of tech people are musically inclined and also comedians. Play the ukulele. Maybe we can jam someday.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you play the ukulele, is that right?
Yeah, ukulele, not very well either.
Okay.
But that's cool. Yeah. So I guess going back to that, the LPN, or actually, let me see here. I have my notes.
Okay. Excellent.
And I know that, okay, we're at 3:03 is the time. Okay. So I don't want to keep you too long.
I have a good number, another 20 minutes if you wish. I can go as long as you need.
All right. Then I'm going to take it.
Okay.
Actually, I wanted to ask you this question.
Okay.
So RFK mentioned about the president saying he's investing a $1 billion commitment of dramatically reducing the chemicals from our culture, and the farmers they're listening to this, so they're thinking about whether anyone likes Trump or not. Like, this is what is happening. So the farmers are like, how do I move forward with this? And RFK said the administration wants to help people like your company scale. So how can they do? Oh, and I think he was talking about row crops, because it's hard for the laser weeder to do a row crop. It's hard for the cost model to work, because spraying Roundup, glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup. So when they say glyphosate, that's what they're talking about. Just broadcast spraying that stuff is very cheap to do. It also makes a lot of the corn that we grow in this country. So a couple of things. I mean, the Farm Bill subsidizes the price of corn. We spend about $50 billion a year from the Farm Bill subsidizing corn. This whole thing comes out of the Dust Bowl in the 30s, and we wanted to make sure we protected our food supply and we protected the farmers. And so, but you roll that forward to now, 2026, and we have this situation where we're subsidizing corn prices, but because we're making all of this just Roundup ready corn, the quality of that corn is not really suitable for human consumption. And so that's why we do other things with it. What other things do we do with it? Well, we make high fructose corn syrup with it. That's why in this country, all of the sweeteners are high fructose corn syrup. But if you get like a Coke from Mexico, it's actual sugar. Interesting.
That's why. It's because we have so much corn and so much cheap corn. It's subsidized by the government. And so that means that you have an oversupply of this stuff. And so that's why we make high fructose corn syrup. It's also why we make corn-based ethanol, right? Why we have a biofuels mandate in the country. It's why when you go to the gas pump, it'll say this may contain up to 10% ethanol. Well, what does that mean? Why does it say up to 10%, as if it's some kind of a warning? It's because it's not really a great fuel for your engine. But it is a way to consume some of this corn. So when you think about the sweet corn that you might buy to be eating, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this stuff that is mostly used for that, and then a lot of it goes to silage for animal feed as well.
So are you saying because they use so much glyphosate, it's unedible?
It's not. It's not a great food product. Yeah, it's not. Most of it is not food grade. It's used for these other. It's used for these other things. And so what happens is we've evolved the corn to be resistant to glyphosate, and that was its main job. And when you do that, you've lost a lot of the nutrient quality, you've lost a lot of the taste, you've lost a lot of the digestibility of it, because it's
that's why you can do it for organic corn.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Okay. Perfect.
That makes sense.
Now you understand the whole system. So that's kind of what's going on. So we cannot let our farmers fail, and we can't let them just go out of business. And so we've got to figure out, this is why when RFK Jr. is talking about an off-ramp, that's what he's talking about. It's like, how do we get the farmers from this system where they're kind of trapped in some ways? I have to buy my Roundup ready corn, and then I spray Roundup on it, and then I sell it into a subsidized but managed market, right? It's subsidized because the market won't pay that price. So it's really up to the government to decide how much are they going to give you for it. So this whole cycle, the farmers need an off-ramp, but you can't just say no more, because they need to be able to continue to grow. So they need tools. They need those tools. And so I think LaserWeeder can be one of those tools. And so when he's talking about we've got work to do. How do we get it there? And he did mention, the biggest issue for us is scale. If we can get up to scale, then we start getting to the point where, okay, now we can actually produce machines in a way where maybe we can start getting into some of those other crops. We are doing organic corn now, and the farmer, like he mentioned in the Rogan podcast, the farmer's getting great results, loves his LaserWeeder. Corn prices are down right now, so in this point in time, it's a little scary for those guys. And I'm certainly do not want farmers to be going out of business, and I want them to have healthy bottom lines. So we got to make sure we do this. We're kind of doing this all together. That's kind of how I think about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the farmer he mentioned, the one in Texas, she was paying like $1,500 per acre, and she's down to
$300 is what he said.
That's what it was. Yeah, 300. I mean,
yeah, she's cool. So we actually did a grower story on them. They're called Real Fresh. They're right along the border down there in McAllen, Texas. They're awesome. They're really fun people. They're great. The farm was started in the 30s from, I hope I got the date right, from the lady Courtney that he spoke to. Her father is called Fred, and it was Fred's father who came over and started the farm out there. And as the story goes, he came out there from Austria, and just started with basically a stump puller and a mule, and like started clearing land. And that's why there's a growing area down there. And so that whole thing is, they have an amazing operation now. And so we have a bunch of we try to do these grower stories where we try to highlight the farmers and what they're doing and what's special about them and their farm. And we like to talk about LaserWeeder as part of that, but we like to talk a lot about the farms as well. And so we've done one on their farm. You can learn about them.
That's really cool.
I think we got about 15 grower stories up from a bunch of different countries and things like that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Everyone go check those out. They're really cool. Gosh, doing a farm in 1930. We watched 1883, now we're watching 1923. Yeah. And it's like, life was really hard back then.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Incredibly hard. Right. So you're like, oh, and I mean, I think we're going to put out more of a video here at some point too about with Fred, her father, who's talking about this whole story. But the other part of this is that the reason why he was leaving Austria is because he was trying to get away from the Nazis.
Oh yeah.
So things used to be quite a bit more difficult, Lisa. Yes.
Let me just get on this boat. Yeah. I might die on the way over. Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like over. Different, right? Different. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what happens if you get sick? There's like hospitals, medical care. Where do you go? What are you going to do? You get all these fevers we don't even have anymore. It's like,
it's insane.
Yeah.
I don't even know how humans are still alive, to be honest. I think we made it by a hair.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
It's wild. You know what? You know who just came in? Joy Behard's twin sister.
Is that right?
Joy Behard's twin sister, Olga Behard. Okay. And she has something she'd like to tell you about.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay, Paul. This LaserWeeder, it looks diabolical out there. I mean, these lasers, they're zapping. Is this really the ethical way to kill the weeds? To explode them like that. They say weeds have feelings. Paul, I'm 83 years old. Glyphosates. Why are we questioning these things? I've been eating these all my life. I don't understand. Did I mention I'm 83 years old? When I see a robot, I think of the Terminator. And we all know that Hollywood writes the ending into the real world. So when I see that LaserWeeder, it's just going to end all of us.
This is really good. These are really good points, Olga, and I don't know what to say.
Well, in response to that, I have some graphics that could go on some swag, possibly a t-shirt, a hoodie. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Okay. And the first one we got up here.
Okay, that's perfect.
Glyphosate, we don't need that shite.
Okay.
Get it out of here.
Perfect. All right.
That's the first one.
Okay.
And the second one here, we have a LaserWeeder eradicating weeds the ethical way.
All right.
It's
okay.
It's okay. They don't have feelings.
Right.
They're ruining the crops.
Yes.
It's okay. This is the best way.
Okay.
And then the last one here is the LaserWeeder,
Whoa.
an insatiable hunger to smoke the weeds down under.
That's pretty good. I like that one. I liked all of them, but this is where it's at. All right. Nice. You did a great job. Look at this. I will point out, you have the right number of weeding modules on that machine.
Gemini.
We've experimented with different AI versions of just to kind of show people different scenarios for the LaserWeeder, but it always screws up the number of modules. But that one was correct. So
I got to give props to Gemini for that.
Nice.
Well, I think, is there anything else you wanted to mention about the LaserWeeder before we go?
There was some discussion, in the podcast about trying to make it more available to smaller farmers. And so we do, in fact, have smaller machines out now. And those machines are going kind of all over the world as well. We're in 15 countries now, and they have much different size farm plots in different parts of the world. And so, our sizes, we have a smallest one is a 6-foot machine, and then the main one is a 20-foot machine, and we have kind of stuff all in between there. We have 40-foot machines we use for corn. So kind of have been able to give farmers more options in terms of size and right sizing the machine for their operation.
Oh, that's incredible. You know what, too, I did want to mention, so since Paul has patents and you're building everything basically in-house, right?
Yeah, we do.
This is a really good example of new technology creating new jobs.
Yeah, true.
I mean, this is, everyone's worried and scared. And so, but I want to shed some light on this company. It's, taking jobs away. No, this is a fantastic example of creating a bunch of new jobs in the space.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Yeah, and you know what I like about it? It's not one particular kind of job. I've got computer science, some of the best in computer vision and deep learning. And I also have really great HVAC people who know how to put together chillers, and awesome mechanical engineers, folks who know how to weld stuff together. We have people putting machines together in manufacturing sites. We have an awesome field team doing support and service on these machines. So everything, it's all of us coming together is the only way that this works.
That's awesome. And I got one more thing to reiterate to the audience why Carbon Robotics really caught my eye, and why I think they're so unique is because of this proprietary large plant model that you've created. Would you call that the brain, the LaserWeeder brain?
I would definitely call that the brain. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that brain that lives over there in Seattle, I think, with the NVIDIA Blackwell. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yes.
Jensen Huang over there. If it wasn't for him, it's just the best time to have technology now.
I think so. Yeah.
Enables it all. But the large plant model has a database. It's just a ton of pictures. I'm generalizing.
150 million labeled plants in there. Yeah.
Holy smokes! And if it comes across a new species that has emerged, it will go ahead and what does it do? Take a picture.
You just take one picture. You say, "Oh, this is a new weed," and it'll start working immediately.
From there, the brain learns a new species, and it pushes that information out to the a hive mindset. Yeah,
that's right. And so it learns from it. So not only does it act on it immediately, but it also will learn from it, so that in the future, as more things are related to that, if they show up, as an easier time identifying. And we also there is a rise in herbicide resistance in the weed population as well. So we hear about these weeds start coming through. One of the big ones is Palmer amaranth that's coming through right now. It started on the East Coast. It's working its way to the West Coast. None of these chemicals can kill it, but LaserWeeder takes it out. And so the biology is adapting. It responds to what happens. And so it's kind of like overuse of antibiotics. Then we get antibiotic resistant bacteria. Well, same thing happens in these fields when you spray the crap out of all of these fields. Eventually, the weeds start to respond, and they're not susceptible to these chemicals anymore. So we need something else. They can't evolve to a laser because a laser just destroys the cells. And so eventually, we're going to wind up in a spot where this kind of tooling is going to be essential anyway, because the chemical, the ways the chemical works in that whole complex is just going to wind up collapsing eventually anyway.
Paul, I'm so happy you brought that up. That was the next thing I was going to say. What is exactly what you said, how nature will try to adapt.
Yeah.
And and maybe even use the herbicides to make it stronger, a stronger plant.
And what happens. Yeah,
I ain't never seen a plant adapt to being exploded, come back together and build itself again. I mean, if it's doing that, we have other problems.
Lisa, tell me about your poster. Don't talk to strangers. What do you have going on there?
Oh, that was my original podcast poster until I got this one printed for $20.
I see. It's well worth it. I think that you may not want to talk to aliens. That might be a good point. But I've kind of learned in my life, maybe later in my years, that it actually do like talking to strangers. So the thing is, this company started because I started talking to farmers, and I don't have a farming background. And so my exploration here was not just on the technical front, but also understanding how a group of people I'd never really spent time with, how they were living and what they were doing and what challenges they were running up against. And I think I've learned, and I would just encourage people to try to learn how other people are doing things and what their challenges are, because sometimes those kind of cross-disciplinary ideas are how the best solutions come about. And so I think being open to understanding what other people are going through and what they're dealing with is maybe one of the best things you can learn to do in your life.
I agree 100%. You know what? I didn't think about that when I got this. I got this poster at one of those like old school record stores. So I think it's a cover for a band that I don't know about. But it's basically like kids don't talk to strangers, and then the alien in the background, the UFO is taking the parents.
Right.
I didn't think about how I might be like sending a message. I totally agree. As a comedian, as an aspiring comedian, I love talking to everybody and anybody.
Yeah.
So,
but I can see why perhaps children should not be talking to strangers. That makes sense.
Yes. Children don't talk to strangers.
Right.
Yeah. That's
I wonder what band that is. You should find out what band that is, and then do a follow-up to this and explain what band it is, and then or maybe get Joy Behar's aunt or whatever to talk about it.
Twin sister?
Yeah, her.
Because Joy Behar, she likes to go after people, so I got to get her twin sister Olga on.
Yeah, good. That was amazing. Paul. If I had closed my eyes, I would have thought I was on The View. So good job. Good work.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I was just so excited. I almost peed my pants.
No, don't do that.
And I mean, I love talking to. I mean, this was amazing, and to talk to someone about NVIDIA and the brain and your product and everything you're doing. It's amazing. I hope you come on again.
All right, thank you, Lisa. It was nice to talk to you.